AllBall TV. You already know the motto. They scared, but I'm not. Again, with Tibbs and Brunson in particular, they gotta step it up, man. And you guys are gonna kill me. How many complaints for the referee do you have? How many times you want to be told no? They're telling you. My God, Tommy Beard put out a beautiful stat. Every month, the amount of free throw attempts per game was dropping for Jalen Brunson. I believe he averaged 6.5 in December. A little less than that in January, and in March he was averaging 4.5 free throw attempts per game. All right, you see that? Jalen Brunson, 7.3 free throw attempts in December, 6.5 free throw attempts per game in January, 7.6 free throw attempts in February, and now in March is 4.7. We don't care about your guy. And Brian Windhorst again came out today from ESPN. He said that they consider Jalen Brunson to be an assist hunter. And people are going to get mad at him. I've seen people call him a calorie hunter. Or whatever they said. I've seen people, go crazy on him. But he's reporting information to us. And we want to sit here and argue with information that's being sent to us. What's the argument? We got Bill Simmons, shout the guy from AM Hoops, Crackhead Corver. We have these guys reporting that the gamblers saw it first. They're shorting the games in the NBA, right? The scores of the NBA. They're shorting the scores of the NBA. They're going under for these scores because they know the rules have changed. They see that the referees have changed the way that they're reffing the game in the second half of the season, the All-Star break specifically. They're responding to what all of us have been complaining about. It's tough to admit that Jalen Brunson is a smaller player, and the smaller players, they do assist hunt. That's how they built their game. It's part of why, Becky Hammond, hey girl, still hasn't made an appearance. You should not make an appearance, by the way, after Jalen Brunson dropped 60. Don't do that to yourself. You're going to look crazy. But we can't lie to ourselves. If you're Tom Thibodeau, you can't sit there and allow Jalen Brunson to think, stop getting gassed up and think you're going to get this call. You're going to end up getting a technical. We already have to play perfect basketball. It's just a game. It's harder for Jalen Brunson emerging himself into superstardom, feeling like he's on cloud 9, feeling like, hey, I should be getting LeBron calls, treated like LeBron. I am a vibe and all that. I hear you, Jalen. But you have to live with the fact they're not going to call those calls, even if you flop. And the more you flop and have to get up from the floor, that's an extra couple seconds to go run up and play defense. I'm not giving any leeway to these guys, and I'm pretty sure Tom Thibodeau, he just sounds like a militant kind of character. He already has enough to figure out with the rotations and the minutes and how, because you do have to spell Brunson's. I don't care what you guys tell me. You do have to spell Brunson's minutes. If it's the fourth quarter, he usually comes in with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Guess what? Bring him in the beginning of the fourth quarter. Rest him for 2 minutes. The other teams know what I'm watching, the pattern and everything. And I'm pretty sure a bunch of these players have the same pattern, right? I don't watch every single team diligently like that enough, but everyone has the same kind of pattern. He needs to be rested. If this is our team for the rest of the way, right? You have to figure out a way to not only win games, to preserve the team. Because we're on our way to the playoffs potentially, right? We're not going to fall out of that, we don't think. We don't want to be a playing team. I just don't think we look into that enough. I'm not saying I'm a head coach or anything, but it has to be about that. Obviously preserving his minutes and his health. And McBride and all these guys. If your team stinks, you got to play them. The Pistons were just going through that, and they figured they could tank with Bogdanovich and Burks. If your bench stinks, you have to live with that. I think they get paid. They're still collecting a check. Your job is to get Jalen Brunson a breather. Go get the oxygen mask ready. Go pump, get it ready. Make sure the battery is charged up. And when Jalen comes out of the game, that's your job on the bench. What are you doing? What are you doing? You kidding me? It's bad enough that all the players expect the call and they think they could talk to the referee and be new Draymond Greens. I don't like it. Everyone thinks they're Draymond Green now. And now Draymond Green is starting to become the recipient of all that. I guess people don't want to hear that. Tough luck. Let's get to the injury report. Because I thought we had some hope for OG Anunoby, at least. But Josh Hart already told us. Josh Hart already told us. If Young Metro don't trust you. Let's start these niggas what's going on, man. Thanks for joining us. I'm coming off saying Jalen Brunson, stop acting like a big baby. Knicks fans, stop acting like babies. You're not going to get the calls. A tremendous drop-off in free throw attempts for Jalen Brunson. Up to 7.5 free throw attempts in December, up to 7.5 free throw attempts in February. That drops down to 4.5 free throw attempts in March. That's not an accident. And that's playoff basketball. Not sure if you want to say that's 90s basketball, but we're getting to a point where the referees can at least be respected. Like now, to me, Jalen Brunson's getting to a point where he thinks he could disrespect the referee. You getting gassed up, man. You getting gassed up, and I just don't appreciate that, man. We can't. I don't need another diva, a diva in my life. That's not why I love Jalen Brunson. Fell in love with him for being a hard worker, blue collar kid, underdog. Not saying to be quiet because you do have to vocalize. I know the game is politics. I know some of the referees. There's a dislike. Somebody would dislike you. Jeff Teague has a crazy, hilarious short about how, Tony Brothers with the big eyebrows, the referee with the big eyebrows. He was like, he would be cool with you 1 minute, and then the next minute during the game, he's just like, "What? We can't talk at all." He seems to be a flip-flop. I get that, but again, it's a game. Your job is to remain cool. If you're a vibe, Jalen Brunson, stay a vibe. Brunson feeling like the king of New York. He is the king of New York. He is the king of New York. But you got to act like it, too. I'm just saying, you guys, if these people watch Michael Jordan, if you really watch him, I know they try to pull up the side by side with LeBron after LeBron smacked the floor. He was throwing a tantrum, and Jordan has footage of him throwing a tantrum. But Jordan you talk about the king of New York, Jordan was the king of the league. He was the king of basketball. And he would talk to the referee. You can see him politicking with the ref. Yo, but what was that about? He would grab onto his shorts and talk to them from the side like this. He was a mobster out there. When I think about it, the mob, they would talk like this with the newspaper, or, what's that? The Johnny Depp, Donnie Brasco. They would talk like this with the newspaper like this. So they knew they were being watched by the cameras. You see when LeBron and them, they talk to each other like this after the game. They have so much respect for each other after the game that they talk to each other like this. but they don't have the decency to talk to a referee like this, the guy who calls the calls during the game. Then you have Gilbert Arenas talking about this is like the cops. The referees are like cops. This is what happens. Like, we don't go to work every day and deal with real cops in the street. Hey, good day, officer. How's everything going? You don't treat him like a human being. AllBall TV. You already know the motto. They scared, but I'm not.